Hi everyone, this is Waldorf here, and welcome to our battle report number 14.
And this is Statler.
We're not doing that over. We're just doing it.
Yeah.
Don't give me that look.
I'm here to bring you your medicine.
Don't give me that look. We're not changing anything. We're going with this. You know how hard it is to get these things recorded? All right. Battle report number 14. We're doing a Warbands game with 400 points per player. We play this one at Huzzah Hobbies, which is one of our two locations we generally play at.
Our group plays at.
The group plays
and we
at.
basically had, we did something a little different. We kind of modified, which we'll talk about, the basic rules. And it's actually a 6-player game, 3 players on each side.
Yep. All right, and moving on with that in mind, we're going to go. There are the rules changes we made.
So the first is, what we decided is that we wanted to try out a game that you could get anyone to just have a few figures and they could jump in and play Ninth Age without having to paint 500 guys or 100 or whatever, which is a huge cost of entry, which scares a lot of people away.
Or play with the butt ugly gray horde.
Exactly, or the Silver Surfers,
yes.
or the Black Shadow Warriors.
Which I don't know if you've probably noticed as we go along in these videos and battle reports, we disapprove of that.
Yeah, highly. So we got old Peyton our guys. Everyone else has to too.
Exactly.
So yeah. So and we have another video that we're gonna post, or we're posting regarding how to play Ninth Age using Warbands for entry-level players without having to do something radically different. So basically, it's the standard Ninth Age rules. We don't feel that there's a big barrier to entry to playing those rules. The barrier to entry is collecting the figures.
Collecting and painting your figures.
Exactly. So the basic thing is nobody could have any lords. As we mentioned earlier, in this particular game, an individual player had a 400-point army.
Right.
We had a minimum that you had to have at least 1 core unit in your army that was, and of course a general, so it should be hero level. Your limitations were you could have up to 1 special for every core unit in your army, and you could have up to 1 rare for every 2 core units in your army. So your army you still have a bit of a core tax. Your army was unlocked by the core, but it still made you have some core in the army.
Right.
Minimum size units were reduced to half because if you make them play with the full minimums, and you just can't feel anything at a really low point level. And then maximums were also reduced to half, just so
you can't take this big huge unit of 16 night
16,
goblins.
that was your army, exactly.
Which no one at this level could shift.
Yes. And then finally, we didn't really do anything with the magic dice, but because it was a multiplayer game, we were making a comment.
Right.
It was just the normal magic rules. It's just everyone had to share the same dice.
And mainly the reason for this is we've done multiplayer games before where we've always made adjustments to the magic dice. We just wanted to point out that we didn't do anything with that.
Exactly. But everything else was straight Ninth Age rules.
Correct. And so we got the rule changes. If I can figure out how to change the screen changes.
You have to hit the button.
and then we ran a scenario, which you found, or
yes,
they made up.
I actually lifted this out of the General's Handbook for Age of Sigmar.
Ooh, you're not allowed to do that.
Oh, shoot, I wasn't supposed to say the name.
No.
We're going to get a lot of dislikes in this video.
Yes.
So it's a pretty basic scenario. We played on a 4x6 table, which you'll see in a moment. There were 4 objectives on the table. 2 of them were on the flanks, 1 on each flank, right in the middle of the separation band between each side of the table. Those were worth 2 points each. Then each player had 1 in the middle of their deployment area, basically 12 inches from the back, which was worth 1 to themselves, but 4 if the enemy occupied it.
Yeah, if the enemy gets it was worth 4 a turn.
Right.
And this is for every... Exactly. These points are every player turn.
Exactly.
So basically there was 12 scoring turns.
Exactly. And to get the points, you had to have a unit within 4 inches of it at the end of your turn. And if there was an enemy unit also within 4, it was contested and nobody got the points.
Right.
Didn't matter who had more or less units, it's just you either had it or you didn't. Once you had it, you kept it until somebody took it away from you.
Right. You could once you ended the turn within 4, you walk away from it and it kept scoring you points until the enemy broke that
And
up.
we had no restrictions on scoring units. Any unit in an army could occupy
do
the
that.
objective.
Correct.
So just by that, you can figure that the objectives and those points were what was the most important thing in the game. I mean, yes, we still were going to allow the normal battle points.
Yeah, but
And you'll see at the end how we total it up. But it was
Right.
really determined more so on the objectives.
right. I mean, there are 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Basically, 9 points of 9 objectives worth of points out there for one army. Every turn times 12 scoring
Exactly.
turns,
As
you
opposed
can
to a 20-0.
as a 20-0 in the
Yes.
scoring system. Actually, by the book was only 17-3.
That's true,
So
that's true, yes.
yeah, this was the game,
Right.
and this is something we like because this one kind of keeps the game fluid because you're moving around, you're grabbing these, it makes a different game.
Absolutely, and it doesn't, and it made it so you didn't, in our minds at least, that you wouldn't have people just showing up with one unit
Right.
and just trying to sit on objectives and be hard to
Correct.
move. We had a couple of big units, as you'll see, that were hard to move.
Yes.
But they weren't huge units. Then we had just a normal for this scenario, a battle line deployment, and it was a fixed six-turn game, using the normal rolling to see who deploys first, and normal deployment rules and everything else.
Yeah.
Normal vanguards, normal scouting. All rules were just bog standard 9th edition.
Yeah.
We also think this helps new people to our group because they don't have to learn a new set of rules if they want to join and play with their new guys. They're going to learn the rules.
Correct.
And yeah, it might take them a little while, but they'll be comfortable learning the rules, and it gives them the opportunity to grow their armies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I mean, you get a couple new people come in and play a couple small games.
Mm-hmm.
They can continue playing small games and move on. I mean, it's actually, and it was a lot of fun. Anyway,
Yeah.
6 turns. The only thing about the 6-turn thing, we could randomize that at some point.
Sure.
But
Depends on the scenario.
this was the first one.
It's
so we
just a
thought it
scenario
was a good thing.
that I happen to
Right.
choose, but yeah.
All right, so now we have the evil army.
Evil.
That's why they're red.
The forces of evil.
Forces of evil. Starting with the orcs.
Is that red or orange?
It's a orangish red. Looks red on my.
Are they from Florida?
It is the orcs. They had a common orc hero as their general. That would be me. He had heavy armor, hardened shield, riding a boar, and he had the razor blade. Had stubble problem. He had 10 Ed Bashers.
I didn't know orc shaved.
He had 10 feral orc Ed Bashers with additional hand weapon, and they had a banner. 5 Ed Bashers, 5 Boar Boy Ed Bashers, common orcs, fully loaded, lance, heavy armor, and shields. No command at all, though, but
We were command light.
the big boys.
In general.
3 Force Goblin Raiders with shields, light. God, I can't talk at all today. With shield, light lance, and throwing weapons.
Maybe if you pronounce it in orcish.
Maybe that's what I was trying to do.
Yeah.
And a bolt thrower. Nice bolt thrower.
Yes.
Nice piece, huh?
Not really.
Anyway.
Should be banned. It's really overpowered.
Then we had the Vampire Covenant, which had a Lamia Vampire, level 1, with the Lamia Bloodline, the Commandment Ancient Power, and a Great Weapon. Commandment Ancient Power brings your unit's weapon skill up to 5. So, based on that, he had a Karn Wraith and 25 skeletons with spears. So he had 1 unit.
Yeah, so what we were talking about earlier.
Yes,
Didn't work in this particular case.
No, it didn't.
Didn't work for him either.
Didn't work for him either. And the Dark Elves had a level 2 Oracle with the Gemstone Amulet, 26 Legionnaires with spears and full command, 10 repeating Auxiliary, and a Dread Reaper with the repeating shots.
After the game, we noticed a slight math error on this army.
Yeah.
But we always knew that Dark Elves were the cheating elves. So.
Dark Elves were cheating, and based on this guy's performance, it really didn't change a whole lot. No. But yeah, he was. If you do the math, you'll find them about 100 points over, roughly. And then
It was an honest mistake.
Yeah, it was. We won't let it. Yeah.
We won't let him ever forget it. That's why we're saying it here, so everyone knows.
So everyone knows. I'll put his name later on in the notes. And then the next guy.
And we have the forces of good.
Oh, they're so nice.
They're so nice. They weren't nice enough, unfortunately.
It was great because I was confusing everyone the whole time.
Yes.
I was calling them like evil the whole
Yes,
time.
well, you call us evil, and then then our players kept getting confused. But you already went. So yes. So first player ever had an Empire Sunstall army. He had a captain with plate armor, hardened shield, hero sword. He had 19 heavy infantry with halberds with full command. The captain was deployed in that unit. 2 units of militia with pistols, and a small unit of riders with the brace of pistols. Then we had a player with the Kingdom of Aquitaine. He had a paladin, just basic paladin with horse, lance, and shield. 5 yeoman outriders. 3 units of 3 Knights of the Realm, and 1 unit of 2 Knights of the Grail. I'm just reminding you from the rules that people could take up to units that were half size.
Correct.
We just had them apportion the points because it is a little confusing with the fixed initial values. Didn't think of that at first. I had to take that on the fly, but it worked out fine. The last army was Sylvan Elves with a chieftain on a great elk with a gemstone amulet, sword of strength, and hardened shield. 2 units of Heath Riders, 1 with just elven cloaks, and the other one had bows, and the other one with shields and elven cloaks. And that army was also over a few points.
Such a cheesy army. All right, and now we have just a quick picture of the Orc army. There's the Aquitaine army, and the Orc army list, by the way. There's the Empire Sonstal.
Yes.
And this unit is the Undead army.
Yes.
Karn Wraith is obvious in the front. To the Karn Wraith's right is, with the little bucket, is the Lamia Vampire. The bucket of blood in their feet.
Right.
So, this was the board.
And the elves were hiding.
They
could not be seen to be photographed.
Well, there was 2 armies that showed up late, and they didn't want to dig out their armies until we were deploying, so they did not get photographed.
They weren't notified of the photo opportunity.
Exactly. And we will not mention any names, but one of them has to be in here, and I play orcs. Just saying.
I don't know what you're saying.
You're too old to figure it out. All right. So here's the battlefield. Kind of hard to see, but you can see in the top corner. This is it's a Realms of Battle board with the hill in that top corner. We covered it with this, just a normal GW mat. Yeah. We like the mats.
This particular board is brown, and people don't like the brown. And then we just have.
I'm not a big fan of the hard plastic.
Right. Have a couple woods, regular woods. The water features just as a marsh. 2 buildings. We played the standard building rules because the units were small. Set of ruins, and then an arm.
And an arm. You forgot the hedge, but
yeah. Oh yes, we have the hedge
and an arm.
And the arm was the arm.
The arm was impassable.
The arm was impassable.
So looks a little different once we get troops on the board.
Yes, and you can, before we talk about troops, you can, if you look at the one water obstacle, you see like a little marker on it. That's one of the 2-point obstacles. On the opposite flank in the woods, you see another 2-point obstacle. It's just barely sticking out from those halberdiers is the 1/4-point obstacle, and the same on the
just barely sticking.
The skeletons there. So those are the obstacles that basically are controlling the flow of the game.
And you can kind of see the sides. Of course, the evil versus good.
Mm-hmm.
There's really no intermingling of units, which is kind of odd, but usually ends up that way with us.
I think we tried that, and then interesting in just how the setup. We just kind of grouped people, but it ended up the evil guys tended to go with the power center, and the good guys tended to go with the attacking on the flanks. So,
we're evil.
Yeah.
So left to right, there was the Kingdom of Aquitaine players set up. The Grail Knights are the ones, and there's 3 units of Knights of the Realm over here, Realm Knights.
And they are on a small hill.
And again, you can see this hill kind of below them a little bit. Doesn't show up well in the photos, but it's nice. 5 of his Outriders, and this is 2 Grail Knights, and the guy in the middle is his Paladin.
Right.
So moving on to the right, of course, we have the Sonstal player. It's got the 2 units of 5 guys here, with the big halberdiers, and those riders. And over here, some scum of the earth routing. Who takes 6 war dancers to a to a skirmish game. It's just ridiculous.
Who takes skirmishers to a skirmish game?
Exactly. It's just so wrong.
Pardon the thought.
And there's this
On the
elk. The great elk. It doesn't look like a great elk to me, but we'll go with it.
It's a nice model. It's all that matters.
It's a really nice model. We should have got a better picture of that.
Yeah.
And then over here we got the orcs. You can see the spiders up top. Big unit orcs. 2 huge units of orcs.
I don't think they can see you pointing at the screen.
I am. I'm pointing at the screen. Well, I was showing you in case you missed it. And a bolt thrower. And there's the other 2 armies. We don't know what they are. Just the big unit of skeletons, big unit of
Dread spears.
the little too big unit of dread spears.
Yeah, slightly larger than it should have been.
The repeating dread reaper. What is it called?
Yeah, Reaper.
Dread Reaper.
Yes.
Dread something.
And then the mage general and the unit of dread whatever the heck they're called.
Those were the repeater auxiliary.
Oh yes, auxiliary. That's what it was.
Exactly. So moving on to turn 1. Here we go. And you notice we
Evil goes first.
Evil went first.
Always being aggressive.
And if you notice, Evil players, we don't give a crap about these little stupid markers. We just walked right away from this one. Not real sure why we did that, but we're evil, so we did. We just want to fight. We don't want to do anything. The that's one thing he did that I missed in the notes. The skeletons had the banner that lets you triple march once.
Ah, yes, yes.
And that was how he's outrunning the elves.
Yes, he get the 12-inch move. That's
Right.
correct. The banner of the Relentless Company.
That's it.
Yeah.
Over on the right side, the orcs just kind of redeployed. It'll keep the eye on those shifty elves. Other than that, I'm happy to let these other big units just slug it out. And spider riders run up to go within 6 inches of the riders. I'm hoping to get lucky with the throwing weapons and maybe hurt 1 or 2 of them. And it's just another good picture. So we rolled magic, 7 dice to 5. We got the swarm of insects off.
Yes.
And zapped down 3 of these guys. Really happy about that. And that was about it.
And everything else got dispelled.
Everything else got dispelled. You dispelled, with that many dice, he just held them, dispelled 1, let 1 go. That's
Right.
what it comes down to.
I believe it was wild form is what he was trying to cast.
Yep. And so that's how the turn ended. And based on that, good guys got a victory point.
Yes.
Evil guys who don't care about things like that
At least not early on.
got nothing. Once we woke up a little bit later, that might have changed. So I'll let you take over the
Okay, then
Empire.
on the good guy turn,
Good guys.
the Kingdom Vectran player moves up. The position is charges, swings his outrider, human outriders around to try to pick off a few evil spiders.
They're also well deployed to screen that Reaper bolt thrower.
Yes, from hitting the knights.
The Grail Knights, yeah.
Not so well screened and take a lot of fire themselves. Then the Empire Sunsol player shifted over his skirmishers to try to get some moved out in front of the blocks and try to get some shots to pick off the spiders. The Elven player shifted over the War Dancers from the woods and then repositioned the Heath Riders just in safe distance so they could make a long charge in theory.
Yeah, he made
Charge
sure
on
he
the
was
extreme.
he made sure he was 15 inches away from those savage orcs down there on the bottom.
Because they couldn't quite get around. because
Sorry,
of the
feral
visibles.
orcs.
Yes, feral orcs, yes. Then the shooting happened, and the yeoman outriders managed to pick off the skirmishers picked off one of the spiders, causing them to panic, and they ran to the rear, and the other guys, the yeoman ended up just shooting at the main unit. And then
Some sniper guy away in the corner.
The chieftain decided to pull out his bow and see if he could hit something, and he could.
Surprising with a ballistic skill 6. I'm amazed that you were able to hit that guy.
It was very sad. Yeah.
I was very sad about that. Poor Spider Rider. And just kind of an overall look at the end of the turn. And, as you can see, the evil guy continue.
Yay, but good pulls ahead.
Good keeps plugging ahead. Look at that. So, evil turn 2. The skeletons have enough of this nonsense. Decide to charge into that skirmishing pile of something. They're deployed rather oddly, but
Yes.
it's illegal deployment.
Well, they were clearly confused because they decided to stand and shoot
We decided to stand and shoot
instead of running away.
The feral orcs. I didn't want to charge over here, but I rolled an 11 for my frenzy check.
Yeah, but
So-
you need an 11. It's not like you're going to make the charge.
I'm going in, so and I already rolled 111. I need 11 to get to them. That's not happening. So they stand and shot. If you notice, there is a skeleton missing. They did kill one. It's that little
Yes.
tombstone flipped over down there on the bottom. So they did manage to kill one, but he made the charge. And over here, I need an 11, but I rolled a 12, so I don't think you should feel bad about
extra
that.
inch of just to prove the point.
Yeah, and 6 of them went through the rough terrain, and
That didn't matter
it
either.
didn't matter. We ignored that.
You really wanted to kill those
We
Heath
were-
Riders.
It was so awesome.
That took care of the
Rolling a
archery
12
advantage.
for a charge is pretty nice.
Mhm.
Mr. Spider Rider decided he didn't want any part of this. He's not coming back anytime soon. These are, what are these? Casualties hanging out in the woods here? Yeah, must be. Right? Anyway.
Yeah.
So the Dread Elf moves around. You see his Reapers, his auxiliary guys up there redeploying. Moves the Spearman up. Mage comes over this way to take care of the riders that swooped around.
Let's try to hit him with the spell.
And here's the charge. Now, if you notice, that looks like a really good overrun there into that big unit.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm sure they'll hold up and not have a problem there.
And the irony is they just barely made the charge.
Yeah, he didn't roll bad on that charge, did
Yeah.
he? So there you go. And like I said, the Dread Elf, the Mage down here was positioning to do the spell at these 4 guys again.
Right.
Wasn't really clear earlier, but... So we got magic, 6 dice to his 4, and the little, whatever that spell is called, a swarm of insect spell, kills 2 of these guys. Unfortunately, they make their panic check and stick around.
And we had mass shooting.
And then we go to shooting. Oh, sorry, shooting. If you notice right here in the middle,
There used to be
the repeater
Riders.
auxiliary got rid of them.
Yeah.
And then the dread bow is ready. And it fires and kills a Grail Knight and puts a wound on the Paladin.
Yep.
So nice shooting from us. As expected.
Shocking.
Shocking, they rolled right over this unit. No damage. And Overrun smashed into this. Now, if you notice...
Something is missing.
Something is missing here. They panicked, and our opponent was nice enough just to remove him from the board
Yes.
rather than fleeing. We let him put him back.
I think they climbed up the trees. Yeah, and they climbed back
They
down.
climbed the trees
When they
and
saw
had
that
to
the
get back
other guys went farther over, they climbed back down. So yeah,
Well, he's not that scary of a vampire.
yeah.
So anyway, and we notice over here there's a dead feral orc here, which is displeasing to me. But there seems to be somebody lifting an entire tray of guys up over here in front of me.
Yeah,
I'm very
just-
happy
just-
about
just,
that.
Not kosher at all.
No,
No.
it's pretty awesome. So look at that. They're all gone, and I overrun off the board. Stupid elves made their panic check. They're just so broken with their high leadership.
Yeah, that 9
They
is just
can't-
too much.
Can't fail a check ever. So now we end up good guys up to 6 points, and the evil guys still have not clipped a single marker.
Yeah.
We're pretty awesome about that. And
Now we have the good guy's turn. The riders, which were blocked from charging the bolt thrower, decide that by taking a few casualties, now they have the clearance.
they're no longer blocked.
So they declare a charge to go after the bolt thrower.
Yeah, but he'll die on the fence.
The-
Sorry. Redeployed. Facing off that way.
And then this is a picture of the evil guys. I'm not sure why.
He just redeployed to face slightly to the
Okay.
left because just above them are the
Yeah.
knights.
The only problem is this is Okay, now I'm
Oh,
confused.
you're right.
This is the good guy's turn.
It is the good guy's turn. I don't know what that was about.
But this is an evil guy thing too, with the guys facing the. I think we got pictures out of order. This is the spearman facing over that way.
Yeah, no, that was last turn.
Oh yeah.
I'm not sure why we took this picture.
Okay. Yeah.
Hmm.
Just to confuse me. Okay, so
Oh, this is declaring his charge. Okay.
he declares charge.
His dice are out here, at least.
Yes, that's the. He declared a charge with the 2 units of Realm and the unit of Grail Knights on the auxiliary guys who decided to flee. He then rolled to redirect onto the bolt thrower, and he was able to do that. However, and we'll see in a minute. So he then had that charge to go forward. The 2 units of Realm Knights failed their charge distances, and they just went forward a few inches. However, the hero in the single Grail Knight went charging into the bolt thrower. And you see the other 2 that failed
Barely
charge.
moved. Yeah.
Unfortunately, the writers weren't really excited about charging that bolt thrower, so they didn't go very far.
Yeah, that's a shame, because that would have helped you later, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, the Spider Riders back there, they don't want any part of it.
Exactly, the fleeing Spider Rider. And then the other Realm Knights charge into the flank of the Skeleton Spearmen, who had then the breakthrough move into the Halberdiers.
And those guys rallied.
And the pistol guys rallied. And then the War Dancers then swung around to get in the position so they could have flank and rear charges on the main blocks, as did the remaining unit of Heath Riders trying to get out of line of sight of the Boar Boys, taking a bit of a rules brain fart there and forgetting about how bolt throwers work, and positioning for future turns. The Grail Knights then just make short work of the bolt thrower as expected, and pass through and pursue right into the fleeing Dread auxiliary, and that wasn't good for them, causing the mage to panic and run out of the woods.
She was just trying to catch the spider.
She wants some spider action.
And
then after killing the unit, then turn the face so we could see the spears and the other guys.
So back to the big battle.
Right. Then we had the big fight with, unfortunately, it seems that while Alhemia Vampire is nothing special, that 5 weapon skill seemed to make a big difference.
Yeah, you guys only got 5 wounds.
Right. The Empire player, he took a knee to get the extra ranks, but he still managed to only get a couple wounds in. Actually, he killed the Wraith with his character, and then I think caused only 1 wound, and then the
Knights
caused the other wounds, but not very many good guy wounds. But then you turn the other side and you see those halberds didn't like those weapons to go 5 guys poking them with spears.
No, that was pretty good.
Yeah, not from our perspective.
But so that ended that turn. Oh, they did hold though.
Yes,
I think we failed that one in Crumble. I think the vampires actually failed that one in Crumble.
Correct. That is correct. It still managed to win because
took a wound or 2. It wasn't major.
Right.
And that brought the victory points up to 8-0.
Yes.
It's a runaway at this point. So the Dread Elves had enough of this nonsense. He's charging into the flank of the Equitane Knights and makes it. Elsewhere, both the Spider and the Mage rally. The General's sitting right there beside him. It's the only thing that kept the Spider guy back. and the General and the Boar moved over to once again block these 2 riders. It's a good use of my General just to sit around and block stuff. I'm happy with it. Boar riders moved up on the right to claim this objective. We need to start scoring points. I think it's about time. Turn 3, right?
Yeah, halfway through the game's a good time. So
Savage Boys, Feral Boys come back on the board. They're effectively out of the game because this is turn 3 and they're a long way away unless somebody wants to wander over there where they are. And that's kind of an overall look to the board. You can see how it looks shaping up. So Magic's down there on the bottom, 7 dice to 5. I think it was fairly ineffectual this turn. So we went on to this combat. Oh no, sorry, he grew 4 guys back.
Yes,
That's what that was the result of the Magic phase.
Basically replaced his losses.
So the bolt thrower decides to shoot, and look, the little 4 stars up in the top left.
Yes, manages to hit, and
He ripped through 4 of those guys.
yes,
I was pretty happy about that.
and that was part of that was confusion on how 8th edition worked versus the 9th Age,
Right.
Because the character was in a better position to take that hit,
Before our board,
but because
top
of
5.
and the 4 were top 5, and however with the 9th Age rules, bolt throwers just basically just hit rank and file as long as you have 5 rank and 5 models.
Right. So those guys are knocked down to that. They made their panic check, stuck around. Again, if these guys could fail a panic check, it'd be awesome. These guys forgot to move. I caught them up later and moved them 8 inches down. Actually, or that was when they just first came back. That was when they first came back.
I think this is early.
Turn 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Spear Elves come in. They managed to do, I think it was 6 total wounds. Might have been more, but he made a bunch of armor saves, failed 4 armor saves. He took the armor-piercing blessing.
Yes.
So 4 wounds got through, and he rolled his armor. he rolled his ward saves of 5 up and made every single one of them. It's a little disappointing for the Dread Elf player.
Until this happened.
Until this happened. But they won anyway. So
you'll see there's something laying on the ground.
That's the captain.
That's the captain who got quickly slain
Yeah,
by the vampire.
The vampire took it. The vampire had a great weapon, chopped him up.
And what was left of the halberds, because they did take a lot of hits, was chased down by the skeleton spearmen, and the Dread Elves decided just to turn the face and let the knights run away.
Yeah, with Swift Stride, he didn't think he could catch him.
Yeah.
He didn't want to get pulled all the way down there. So there's another good shot of that. And again, overall look at the board at the end of the evil top of turn 3. And now look at this. Good, get another 10, another 2 points. They're up to 10.
So by the Empire Prime running, actually it wasn't a really, it was a very makeable
It was
check. He just didn't he missed it by 1. It was the fear from the vampire that made the difference.
correct.
And that allowed the 4-point token there.
Now we got the 4-point token. Yeah, which was awesome. So
then it brings us to the good guy phase. The
mage is what he charged.
yes, the mage is being charged by the character in the Lone Grail Knight.
She headed out of town quickly.
The guys on the left are actually casualties. Don't pay attention to those.
Yes.
The elves, they were all wiped out.
He failed his
He failed.
redirect.
He failed the. She ran away, and
Right.
then he tried to charge into the spider, and he failed to redirect and just had a failed charge.
So
This is the mage running.
yeah, the mage running and the movement. These guys moved
Yes,
over just to shoot.
and
her.
then the during the movement phase, the riders came up just to kill her because she was worth some points. The war dancers that were in the woods had a rear charge, so they took it and smacked the rear of the skeleton units. The Equitane, he lost one guy. I think that was from the running to the woods, wasn't it?
No, he
Did
had
he take a loss? He didn't take a loss in the combat.
no, he had 2. Why did he lose one? He wasn't near the woods, was he? Yeah, when they turned. Sorry, you're right.
Yeah.
When they pivoted to flee, they put the one guy in the woods,
Yes.
and of course
and he
died
grabbed the one.
from it.
Is what it was. Yes.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
There we go. So they rallied,
So they rallied, and the pistolers
Oh.
came up to shoot.
and the big nasty thing,
And the,
nasty looking thing.
Yeah, the elf chieftain came over to prepare in case the war dancers didn't go through that unit, and also to be in position to support the leadership.
I'm just showing them back in position.
Right.
Nothing major there. And it's just kind of an update. Kind of a duplicate picture.
I think that was the shooting that the guys didn't.
This Mr. Sniper again. Ping. He seems to have a problem with spiders.
Yes.
He does not like spiders.
He's got arachnophobia.
He's not a big fan of spiders. I got a big one to show him soon. All right.
So then there's the fleeing the mage who gets a wound from getting shot at.
Would have been 2, but he had the gemstone amulet,
that
which saved him.
Mm-hmm.
So look at the war dancers.
So the war dancers rolled a little below an average roll, so they did not wipe out the unit. So with basically only caused 8 casualties. So
looks like you lost 1 back.
Yes, and 1 got killed, and they were doing the coil dance for the extra attack. So 19 in strength 4 attacks.
It did hurt that unit.
Yeah, with 8 plus the crumble. So there were only 3 skeletons left with vampires still alive. And
good guys are up to 12. Bad guys, we lost that 4 points because now the war dancers are around.
Yeah.
And we're down to 10. We're up to 10, sorry. So, beginning of turn 3, right? Beginning of turn 4. What do we got here? This is kind of an overall look of the whole thing. The fleeing mage fails to rally, just runs another mighty 2 or 3 inches, getting nowhere fast. You can see the other thing we mentioned is the down the bottom right hand corner. You can see where his Heath Rider is kind of slipped around there. That was last turn. We missed a picture of that. So everything else is just kind of redeploying, getting in position to deal with stuff. You can see the Boar Riders have moved up. The Orc Generals moved back there, just kind of hold the middle zone. Magic dice was 3-2, so we gave them all to the other mage was fleeing, so he raised 6 skeletons to kind of help his chances a little bit. And the bolt thrower shoots, and there's a little star there where the Heath Rider used to be. So now that bolt thrower is up to 5 Heath Riders.
Yes.
It's keeping tally.
The man of the match was the goblin bolt thrower.
Exactly. And the war dancers decide they're going to go with the safety dance because that gives them
it's a 3-up save.
That gives them a 3-up save.
There's only a couple guys fighting them.
And there's only a few guys fighting them, and they managed to kill 3 skeletons to bring them down to what you see. But there was 2 more of those guys a minute ago.
Yeah, it seems that 3-up's not a big enough...
3-up's not good enough against skeletons.
Ward against anything.
So, that didn't go well.
It was actually only 3 hits also.
Was it only 3 hits? I missed that part.
Yeah, 3 hits.
That's pretty ugly.
Yeah, well, history repeats itself.
So, still, I mean, it's kind of a push still because you did 3 wounds to his 2.
Yes.
He does have a banner, so it was 3 even. I think you passed your test and stuck around. Mm-hmm. So nothing major there. Good guys got another 2. Evil picked up 3. So now we're closing the gap. We're only a point behind now for the evil guys. And we're on to turn 4 for the good guys.
And the good guys come and declare a charge against the fleeing mage with the Reiter unit. It was questionable. They were a good 2 inches away. So.
Yeah, it was. It was a long charge. No charges there. They just moved up to claim that thing.
The Grail Knights moved up to claim the big objective and positioned the other knights for further charges. And then the earlier rallied Realm Knights charged the flank of the skeletons to help out the underperforming
the beleaguered
dancers. Yes, as did the chieftain coming in to clear things up.
Those elves, spear elves, are facing to the left.
Yes, and you'll notice
got those dangerous guys in the woods.
Right. Yes, he was very afraid of them, so it was more important to face those. And also in the main combat, the vampire during the previous phase moved to the left flank, assuming the attack of the chieftain. So the chieftain is in contact with the vampire,
and not the unit.
Not the unit.
Everything else just redeploying
And
around.
then there's no longer a mage.
And they've redeployed to face the bolt thrower,
Yes.
which is destroying his entire army.
Yes.
And look at that.
So the fight comes in. Unfortunately, the chieftain fails his leadership check for fear on the vampire. So
And the vampire has a minus distracting, so you're
right.
needing 6.
So need 6 hits. Did manage to get a hit and a wound off on the vampire, nonetheless. And of course the elk missed all their attacks.
Right.
You'll notice that there's another war dancer missing. But there are no longer any skeletons alive.
And that's after the redeployment.
And that's with the crumble and redeployed, and the elves face back towards the middle, where the orc cavalry is kind of staring at them.
And you can see the arc of visibility there, and the chieftain is just out.
Yes.
But points, the little eyes, good guys picked up a chunk there because they got that 1 point back,
And
And
taken over the one.
and
in
they
the
got
back.
our 4-point one.
Right.
So they got 6, we got 2. Now we're down to a 5-point deficit. So the orcs have had enough. We're going to go kill those war dancers. They butchered our friends. We're not happy with them.
Butchering is a strong word, but it's okay. I have a safety dance
Uh,
available to
You do. On the other hand, the Dread Elves decide to take out their anger on the 5
Yes.
guys in the woods.
The forest was going to be evil.
And he beat the hell out of those 5 guys.
Which does remind
Actually,
me.
they fled. He caught them.
Yeah, which does remind me. One rule we didn't play with was all the woods being difficult terrain because of the Sylvan Elves, because it was a multiplayer game.
Oh,
Yeah.
good point. And you can see the boars charge into the safety dancing.
Yes, they make it in, unfortunately.
And we made it. It wasn't that far. It was a 12-inch charge.
Still unfortunate.
Not
See,
for-
that doesn't change the.
Might have been unfortunate for you.
Yeah,
I
you know.
didn't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
So we made it in there. Over here, the bolt thrower, you can see, finds another target,
Yes.
fires into this unit, hits the paladin, and thumps him off the
Aquitaine no
board.
longer has a general.
Aquitaine has now lost their general. And this bolt thrower is up to 6 models claimed,
Yes.
all cav. You can see the orc general moved over here in front of the orc general moved over here in front of the Grail Knight
To contest the objective.
to contest the objective, and he's going to take on that Grail Knight.
Finally decided it was time to maybe go defend that.
So,
Yeah.
there is a boar rider missing, but you did do the safety dance. So.
Did the safety dance, but did manage to kill a boar rider. Unfortunately, the 3 hits the boar rider, 3 wounds the boar rider caused, seemed to still cause 2 wounds because a 3-up save isn't good
I
enough.
think you're going to have to rename that safety dance.
Yeah, I think they need to make it a 1-up ward save.
So when that happened, of course, the Knights of the Realm decided they'd had enough.
They panicked and ran
If
off the
those
table.
boars can kill 2 of those war dancers, they were done.
Exactly.
And they fled.
And somehow the chieftain decided that failing his previous leadership check wasn't enough, so he had to fail another one and
Yes.
run away.
Oh, look at that. They can flee.
Yes. Which puts the objective now in the orc hands.
It does. And that's kind of overall again.
Yes.
You can see down there on the bottom right, the guy's still positioned in front of my bolt thrower. I
Exactly.
couldn't do anything about
And
that.
then we have telephones, tape measures, arcs of visibility, and plenty of dice, arms and hands also.
Yes. Very handy.
Yes. It was-
But victory point wise, look at this. We're closing the gap again.
Yep.
We've got that 4-point one that makes a huge difference.
Yes.
So now we're down by 1 at the bottom of 5. I'm sorry, at the end of our turn 5, which
Yes.
was the top.
Which brings us to the good guy turn. So the Grail Knight decides to charge the general, see what can happen. Since the general doesn't have a lot of equipment, he's hoping he can,
He is strength 6.
with his charge bonus and his 2 attacks, he'll be able to do something there. The other knights actually tried, the ones on the other side of the woods tried to also charge a general, but they failed their charge.
And guys in the middle tried to charge the boars as
And
well.
the guys in the middle tried to charge the boars. They failed their charge.
Let's see how far was it. Oops. Sorry, going the wrong way.
Going their own way.
Yeah, I can't. I guess we
Yeah.
don't have a picture. Anyway. Oops.
Yes. Then the chieftain decided, well, why am I running? I'm an elf, and decided to rally.
Those are only orcs in front of me.
Exactly. And
Oops, give me that one.
yes, you can't see the riders in the picture, but they declared a charge against the
Right
troublesome bolt thrower.
Yes. Finally wanted to end that menace.
Yes.
And as you can see,
However, you'll notice there's only 2 wounds on the bolt thrower, but it did manage to fail its
But they
leadership
did.
check and get killed finally.
yes.
Yes.
So this is the guy charging in the Grail Knight.
Yes.
He did wound my general.
He caused a wound.
And if you look up there, the 3 dice are my rolls to hit for my guy. And the 4th one is the roll to hit for my boar.
Yeah. So we're looking good.
I'm not pleased about this. But of course, considering the phase, I continued to roll 1s and 2s and stuck.
Yes. So unable to take that objective, the evil swings ahead. And because there was no one around the other objective,
Correct. You just rallied, you couldn't get back to it.
correct.
So the end of turn
And our
5.
and our scouts who didn't like maneuvering around much, were
No.
gone, so they couldn't do it either.
So we go to top of 6 with the evil guys, and the boar riders decided they didn't like those Knights of Equitaine charging them, so they decided to charge them. Teach them a lesson. And we taught them how to charge because we made it.
Yes.
The Dread Elves decide they'll lumber out of the woods
To claim
to claim that objective and to stop that nasty creature back there. Over here, the boar boys move within, the orc ferals move within 4 inches of this objective just to make sure it doesn't get claimed from us. And the boar boys charging in managed to kill a knight without taking any damage themselves, which is glorious. Win the combat by 2. That banner is actually not a banner.
Right.
And he flees. I pursue him, catch him, and manage to get into the woods with one guy. And that one guy that gets into the woods rolls a 1. And he dies. Well, when 1 out of 3 dies, you take a panic check and you roll an 11. It's only fitting.
Exactly, and run away from the
And
closest
you run
unit.
from the closest unit and lose another guy as I run through the Grail Knight.
Well, first you lost a guy running into the woods again,
Oh,
because you were out of the woods
Sorry.
when you broke.
good point. Yes. No, because there's the guy.
Yes,
okay.
because only one guy went in, he died.
Yes.
And
He
you
died
fled,
there
and
in
the other
woods.
2 went into the woods.
And
One of those.
then one dies going through the knight, the paladin.
Yes.
I'm sorry, the Grail Knight. So I managed to kill the 3 knights, but lose 3 of my own boars to myself. Pretty awesome.
Yes.
Nice. But my general came through this turn,
And killed the
decided he'd had enough
Grail
of that
Knight,
Grail Knight.
who didn't do anything.
Now, funny thing, had I done this fight first, that guy wouldn't have been there for me to run through, and I would
That's
have had
true.
2 left.
That's true.
Anyway, so general turns to face,
Which gets the objective back.
which gives me back my objective.
So you
of course.
have most of the objectives. And there's a
So
big 7
there's a
point swing.
huge 7 point on this
Yeah.
one. But now we're a good 8 points ahead.
Yeah.
ahead of the,
And the evil guys basically, they've won the key fights on both of the big objectives, and that's kind of set the tone at this point.
Yeah.
So the good guys turn. The riders come up to just contest the 2-point objective on the right flank. The one unit of Grail Knights decides, okay, we're going to get rid of this general.
Knights of the Realm.
Right, Knights of the Realm. I'm sorry. We're going to get rid of this general and get this objective for the good guys, since the fleeing guy can't contest it anyway.
Just another shot at it, I guess.
Yes.
Oh, Mr. Sniper Boy again.
Then the Praeton, he had moved up, and we'll see a little bit later, just to contest the other objective, and decided to take a little arrow shot and pick somebody off just to make sure we get those points.
Guy's annoying. It's the 3rd model he's dropped that way.
That's all he did all game.
Those guys shot up one
And
of
then the
my
Riders
boys.
shot up a guy just because they had nothing else to do.
They're bored.
Glorious charge and no wounds on the.
Equitaine side?
I'm sorry, the Orc General kills one guy. I think he went first, right? And
No, I'm initiative 3, simultaneous.
yeah, so. But anyways, so Equitaine manages to a guy who's they lose one guy, so the ward saves it. Armor didn't save him.
But it was a push combat. So.
And what happened was even It ended up being a push, so it didn't kill the general.
Right.
Couldn't claim the objective.
But you held the objective from us.
Right, but
Which
it would
means
have
we got 0.
right, as opposed to us getting 4.
Correct. Which would
Plus the
have put
100
it,
points for your general.
which would have put it a lot. Yeah, probably would have
Yes.
swung the game to you.
Exactly. At least the victory points.
So the victory points ended up like this: 28
Right.
to 34 at the end of turn 6. So as a wrap up, you had 103 extra points killed in
Right.
wounds.
So we just did a normal points determination from the back
Right.
of the rule book.
Correct. So that ended up with an 11-9 in the good guy's favor, but you add in the objective bonuses, which was 28-34, and you came to a 43 to 39 victory, minor victory for the Evil Alliance.
Exactly. I'm surprised you didn't make this page red.
I should have,
Yeah.
but I kind of did all the buying.
But yeah, and you see that it was really the objectives that they were the important thing in the game and really affected the swing of the game.
Yeah, which I liked a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the objectives being more than I actually like the objectives being more than just killing stuff.
Yeah.
I think that makes for a more interesting
Definitely
game a
in
lot
this
of
type of
times.
game where you have lots of little units running around.
At least a different game.
Yes.
Whether better or not, it's different.
Correct. For this type of game,
Mm-hmm.
and I think for a game that, getting people interested into a game, it just does a little more. So
It does, because you're not just running to the center to fight each other.
exactly. Oh, I lost all my guys, but I still won.
Yes.
And it's still a possibility.
Yeah. So that's what we had. It was a fun game. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah.
So
And we'll talk, as I said, we're going to have another video that's going to talk about playing small point games using Ninth Age.
yeah, because there are some things you're going to need to. There are some adjustments you need.
Right.
The Warbands rules, I think that they have just straight out of the book, probably are okay if you're going to do like 1,000
1,000 points.
1,000
you're okay.
points or higher, maybe.
Much less than that, you start having problems.
Yeah. Then you start having serious problems.
And if you get to
with it, I think.
500, you have big problems. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But anyway, thanks for listening, and that's our wrap up for the Warbands game.